School party.
Hello boys and girls, good afternoon and welcome to Critical English for grade 6 to 7. This afternoon I will be filling in for Miss Monique Sarius, who is unable to be here. So good afternoon, Alicia. How are you doing? It's almost the end of the term. Yeah, you're excited? All right, so today we're gonna have a conversation because, it's just you and I, so let me sit here. All right, so today we're going to be looking at letter of apology. I understand you've done letter writing sometime last week, and I assume that you've done it sometime in school? Yes, and so we're looking at formal letter. Now, do you have siblings, Alicia? What happens when you have disagreement with your siblings?
We sometimes argue.
You argue, yeah. And what happens when mommy and daddy get involved? Do they get involved?
Not all the time.
Not all the time? But when they get involved, what are you made to do, or what is expected of you? To apologize. Now, why do you think that is important? Do you think that is important?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it helps to show an example of
Sure.
how a father should be.
How a father should be? So, some sensing only daddy get involved? Some sensing only daddy get involved? No? Mommy get involved sometime too. Well, the AC is a little bit up today. All right. So, usually, when we have, when we have disagreements and falling out, we are expected, of course, to issue an apology. All right? And I don't know what, all of a sudden I'm feeling very, very stuffy. Let me turn off the AC and see if that will help. I feel like this is Nigel's doing, and I'm standing right in front of the camera. Which one? Good. So I think I'm going to stand, Alicia, because I think when I sit, I feel a little stuffy for some reason or the other. All right, good. So usually when we get into disagreement or when incidents happen, we're expected to apologize, right? And in a formal setting, we're expected to say, in school, what happens in school? If you have a disagreement, have you had any disagreement since you've been to high school? I know it's a new environment for you. Have you seen anyone have disagreements though? Yeah, and hopefully not a fight. Hopefully not a fight. All right, but when these things happen, especially in a formal environment, one of the ways we want to sort it out is by writing a letter of apology. Now, what is the purpose of that letter of apology? When we talk about letter of apology, first of all, it's us apologizing to someone, recognizing, of course, that we are sorry and genuinely sorry for our mistake. All right? And we have to, of course, be remorseful. And this apology is an admission of guilt. So it's like you and I have a disagreement, and I give an apology because I recognize that I have wronged you. All right? So that's the first step in letter of apology. Admission of guilt. Accepting that you have done something wrong to someone. All right? And usually that's a big thing for people to do. To acknowledge that they have done something wrong. When you get into your disagreement, is it easy to say you're sorry? Sometimes? And then sometimes it takes tears? Just to say I'm sorry? Yeah, based on your facial expression, I'm gonna take yes. Yeah. So sometimes it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. All right. And then we want to look at how do we go about what. And so, in order for us for our apology to, how do you know? Let's say if how many what siblings do you have? Brother or sister?
We
Or
have
both?
2 brothers and 1 sister.
All right, so let's say you have a disagreement with your sister and she apologizes, but she said, sorry. How would you feel?
I wouldn't really feel like it came out of her own instinct.
You know, you wouldn't feel that it was genuine, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that we've got to do, especially when we're doing letters of apology, is that we've got to make sure that our apology is genuine. All right? Our apology is genuine and it's not half-hearted, as if I come and say, sorry. Right? Our body language and all of that, especially when we're conversing, we'll get that. And in the same way, if we are writing based on how the letter is structured, sometimes we see that very tone coming across in the letter. Do you think that is so?
Yeah.
Yeah? So remember, words are very powerful, and how we use those words can either show the person who we've offended that we're genuinely sorry or that we're not sorry at all. Yes? And then, so when we talk about apology, they soothe a hurt feeling and they evoke admiration when you acknowledge responsibility. So one of the things apologies do is that it shows that as persons who have done something wrong to someone or who have made a mistake, is that we are acknowledging that we've done something wrong and we are taking responsibility for our action. And that's a big thing, right? Especially in our classroom. If we've done something wrong to our classmates, we want to take responsibility for that and we want to apologize. All right? Because later on we're going out into the world. And so how do we go about writing a letter of apology? And where are our markers? So what do you think would be the first step? So let's talk about that. What do you think would be the first step, Alicia, if you are going to write a letter of apology?
Yeah.
What is the first thing that you may want to do if you're writing a letter of apology? Excuse me, Alicia. Thank you. Yes?
You would want to make note of the issue.
So, make note of the issue. And what was it that I was talking about just now that makes us responsible? How do we go about taking responsibility?
Think about taking responsibility by admitting your faults.
Very good. So let's look at, so the letter of apology. Letter of apology. It allows us to do what? Admission of blame, worthiness, and I'm putting this so we can see it in writing. Sometimes we have to see things to remember. Do you agree?
Yeah.
And regret for and undesired. What am I spelling? D-I-S-A-B-L-E for an undesirable. Undesirable event. All right. So something happened that we don't necessarily appreciate. It's not necessarily the best thing that would have happened. Say for instance, these are your apple. All right. It's not necessarily the best thing that has happened. We don't. We feel sorry that it happened, right? And we want to write an apology. So let's look at the structure. So you've said it, Lycian, very good. The first thing we want to do is what?
State the issue.
And we do that by what? By how?
See.
We, first of all, we want to admit the error. That's the first thing we want to do, right? So we've done something wrong. We've wronged someone, and we want to admit what we have done wrong. Okay? And we're going to come to an example just now. And then B, we want to apologize for error. So what we've done, and now we're apologizing for that. We're saying sorry for that, yes? And then C, we want to move on to explain why the error occurred. So why did it happen? And usually when we have undesirable events, like for instance a fight or we push someone, it's not that it just happened, is it so? When you have your disagreement with your siblings, or even in your classroom, is it something that just comes out of the air? Something would have led to that point, isn't that so? Yeah, so we want to explain why that occurred. And then D, we want to identify action to avoid recurrence of error. So we want to say how we're going to prevent this from happening again. All right? How are we going to prevent it from happening again? And then finally, we want to make sure we end on the courteous close. All right? So let's look at an example of a letter of apology, and then we can talk about what Nigel tried to throw me down in the studio today. All right, good. So let's look at the letter of apology, Alicia, and let's examine this letter. Oh, I've got to be careful. All right, yes. So let's examine this letter of apology. It's up on the screen. All right. If we can just have the small camera on, yeah, a little bit up, a little bit more. It's blocking the first line. Up. All right. Perfect. So, too far. Good. So first of all, we notice, of course, Alicia, that this type of letter, and I trust that Miss Arias would have went through how the letter is written, yeah? The structure. And we can have the semi-formal or the semi-block and completely blocked writing, right? What that means is quickly, let's talk about that quickly on this side here. So when we talk about block and fully block, so this is blocked, semi-block, and then fully block, right? So the semi-block will have just what we see there: our address, our salutation, our body, of course, indented, right, with paragraph. So this is our body. And then we have, of course, our closing just under, of course, our address. And we've learned this in primary school, didn't we? Yes. And then we have the fully block. The fully block says that everything must be on the left-hand side. Yes? So we have our address, our salutation. We begin our letter right here nicely, and this is our body. And unlike in here, unlike in the semi-block where we indent to show what? We indent to hello, come in, good afternoon, how are you?
I'm good.
You're good? Thank you for joining us. So let me bring the system up here so I can give you a seat. And we are talking about the letter of apology this afternoon. Have you ever heard that type of letter? Have you ever done something you had to say sorry for? Yes. All right. So we're talking about that. All right. So Alicia, we're here, and we said, so in order for us to show a new paragraph in the body of the letter, we have to indent. We show a new paragraph by indenting. All right. In this letter, in the fully block, instead of indenting, we skip a line. All right. And then, of course, our closing comes directly under so that we have everything coming in one straight line down. All right. So Alicia and pardon? Azaria. So Alicia and Azaria, I'm filling in for Miss Harris today. So we just looked at the format revision, because I think Miss did this with you, the body, and we're differentiating between block and fully block. All right. So this is what it looks like. And we're talking, of course, about the letter of apology. And we're saying that a letter of apology is when we are admitting that we have done something wrong and we want to make things right. Have you ever had to do that? You've never had, you have siblings? Have you ever had scuffles with them? Disagreement? No? Wow, I want to come and live at your house where nobody seems to have disagreement. Yes, so when we have disagreement, we want to say, usually, even in our classroom, even among our friends, sometimes we have falling out, yeah? And then we have to say what? I am sorry. But in a formal setting, this is what we want to do. We want to write a letter of apology. And this is the structure of the letter of apology. First, we want to admit error. We want to apologize for that error. We want to explain why the error or why the behavior happened in the first place. And then we want to identify actions to avoid recurrence. So we want to state what we will do to prevent this from happening again. And then finally, we want to end on a courteous note. All right? And so we're going to examine A. You can have it up back on the screen. And we're going to examine how we're going to examine this letter of apology. And we're looking to see if this letter of apology has all of has the structure, follows this particular structure. All right? Oh, good. So who wants to read for me? At least, Azaria, you want to read? Yes, as we await the letter to appear on the screen. No? All right, there we go. So, go ahead, Azaria. Read for us, please.
Dear Mr. Ben.
So we want to start from the address, right? Yeah, go ahead now.
Union Village, Claxton Bay. Claxton Bay, November 2nd, 2002.
Yes.
Dear Mistress Ben.
Dean. All right, do you want me to read? Because it probably is a bit blur. Yes, all right, so let me go ahead and read. Dear Mrs. Dean, I am very sorry for the incident which occurred in your classroom today. I know that I was wrong to throw Marlon's book bag out of the window. However, I would like you to know that Marlon has always been a nuisance to me. He hides my assignment books. he takes my sandwiches without asking, and he plays pranks on me. This time, I lost control of myself. Please accept my apology. I assure you that this incident will never occur again. Yours respectfully, Alan Kobe. All right. So, is that a letter of apology? Do we see these things happening there? Let's look at first and foremost, admit the error. So what is the error? What happened? What did Alan do?
Throw Marlon's bag out the window.
He threw Marlon's book bag out of the window, and he admits that that was not the right thing to do. Where do we see that in the letter? Is it clearly stated? Yeah? Where? Read for me, Akila.
I know that I was wrong to throw Marlon's book bag out of the window.
So he is what? He's admitting and saying that he was wrong and say what he was wrong about. All right? So that's the first thing. So we're gonna give that a big tick, yeah? What about apologizing for the error? Did he do that? In fact, that's the first thing he said, isn't that so? I am very sorry for the incident which occurred in your classroom today. So we're going to take that out too, all right? Let's look. Did he explain why the error occurred? Akila? Azaria? Sorry. Yes, Azaria. Where do we see that? Do we see it?
Yeah.
Yes, where?
Third line.
Third line. Start the third line for me, please, where you see it.
However, I would like to know that Marlon has always been a nuisance to me.
All right. So he goes on to explain why or how he came to throw Marlon's book bag out the window. Isn't that so? He said that this is not started just like this. He has always been a nuisance to me. What are some of the things that he did? He hid his assignment books. Would you be upset if somebody do that to you? What about if you had worked all night on your assignment and then somebody hides your assignment? How would you feel, Azaria? Mad, definitely. What about you, Alicia? Yeah, really, really upset. That's not a cool thing to do. And then he takes my sandwich without asking. If I were him, I would have felt the same way too, because I don't play with my food. Do you share your food? Sometimes, but if somebody takes it without asking, again, how would that make you feel? Yeah, right? Then he says, and he plays pranks on me. This time, so it has happened a lot of times before that, right? But this time, I lost control of myself. So this time, Marlon went a little too far, and he was tired of it. And so, what he did, he just threw the bag out of the window, right? And so, he has explained why the error occur, and they identify action to avoid recurrence of error. He says, please accept my apology. I assure you that this incident will never occur. Did he identify what he will do to avoid it? What do you think, Azaria? Yeah? No, Azaria looks tired. You're tired. You had a long day. All right. So he does not explicitly say, well, I will do this, because if we examine it closely, it's not that he was the person who did something. It was that these things were being done to him. And so he got mad, and this is what he did. All right, but he granted assurance by saying what? I assure you that this incident will never occur again. And perhaps, what do you think he could have mentioned? Because what do you do when things happen to you that you don't like in your classroom? What should you do then? So if somebody annoys you or they take away your belongings in your classroom, what should be your first step?
Bring it to a teacher.
Yes, so he could have said that this incident will never occur again, as I will bring my complaint to the teacher if Marlon should trouble me again. What do you think about that? Yes? So that way we can account for explicitly, but implicitly, he did say that he granted assurance that this will not happen again. And he can state explicitly how, identify the action that will avoid the recurrence of him throwing Marlon's book bag out the window. All right? And finally, he says, close on a courteous note. Did he do that? Please accept my apology. Did he say, and you got to accept it? No, please accept. So, this letter qualifies as a letter of apology because it did what? It admitted the error. He apologized for the error. He explained why the error occurred. He implicitly stated how he's going to avoid the recurrence. And of course, he ended on a courteous close. So today we looked at letter of apology and we said what Azaria. What did you learn from the lesson? A little bit did you came in. I know that you're tired, but is there anything that stood out to you? No? All right, that's okay. She's exhausted. I can see it all over your face. What about you, Alicia?
I learned that when you're always writing a letter, you should start it off by stating the issue, and then, like at the end of the letter, you should state ways in which you can prevent the issue from happening.
All right, thank you so much, Alicia. All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining us. My heart goes out to you this afternoon. Azaria, she looks so tired. Doesn't she look tired? She looks exhausted. Guess what? It's almost there. We're almost at the end of the term. So you just need to hang in there for one more week, right? Because this week is almost done. So thank you, ladies, for joining me this afternoon. Thank you so much for always being good students. Thank you for the viewing public for joining us. Please stay tuned for math, and I will see you tomorrow. So have a good evening.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Critical Math, grade 6 to 7. And today we are looking at averages, but we are focusing on the mean and the mode. So to kickstart our lesson today, we have on our table here 4 groups of shapes. And so our 2 students are going to find out the average number of shapes per group. All right, and so I'm going to ask Alicia, how do you find the mean?
You add up the amount and then you divide it by the amount.
All right, so she's saying you add up the numbers and divide them by the total amount that you have, right? So how many groups do we have on the table? We have 4 groups. And so somebody's going to count, and so to save on time, we will use our calculator, and somebody is going to calculate. So who's going to count and who's going to calculate? Come on. Who's counting the number of shapes we have in each group, and who's doing the calculation? Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. All right, eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Get your rat and bite it toe. Da. All right, you count, you calculate. Pick up the calculator. All right, you count. So Azaria is going to count and Alicia is going to calculate. Good. So you're counting how many shapes we have per group. So start with the first group. So say it out loud for her to see, or hear, sorry. 4. Reset, right? 4.
6.
Plus 6.
3. 5.
5. What's the total? 18?
Yeah.
All right. So how many groups do we have?
4.
4 groups. So you're dividing that by 4. 4.5. So we can say approximately. All right. So she got 4.5. So it's approximately what? So we're gonna make it a whole number because we don't have. So it's like 4 and a piece, right? Or 4.5. But we can break up the whole into halves. So we're gonna say approximately 5. So each group has approximately 5 of the different shapes. That's what we're talking about in terms of average. So on average, right? Each group is gonna contain 5. That's the whole concept behind averages. All right. Now, so as it relates to statistics, right? So there are 3, we call them measures of central tendency because they all give us the middle value. They all concentrate in the middle. So there are 3 of them, the mean, the mode, and the median. But we are focusing today on the mean and the mode. Now, when we speak of the mode as well, now look at your numbers. You can remember the numbers for each group?
Yeah.
You can remember the numbers. All right, so which color is your modal color? Now, when I say modal color, it means the color that has the maximum number, or which is the most. So which group of the colors has the most of, when you count them, the highest number? Red or the blue? You can check it back. Red, how much red has?
6.
6 and
5.
this was 5?
Yeah.
So it means our mode would be red because this color occurs the most. So you have more of this than any of the other colors. All right, so we're gonna come back to the mode in a bit. So looking at our screen, so they've just demonstrated how we find a mean, and in order for us to find a mean is that we sum the numbers and we divide them by the total amount of numbers that we have, or in our case that we examine, the number of groups, right? So we had 4 groups. Great. So if we have 3 numbers now, So for example, we have three numbers, 6, 11, and 7. Can you show my screen, please? It's in. Oh. Right. Right. So we have three numbers, 6, 11, and 7. So our mean would be to add 6, 11, and 7, so which will give us a total of 24. And so we divide 24 by 3. And so our average of those three numbers would be 8. All right? Now, why does the mean work? So it's because we have 6, 11, and 7 added together is the same as 3 lots of 8. You see that? So you can express it as 3 lots of 8. 8, 8, 8. So on an average. So it's like if you are flattening out the numbers. So it's like if you're leveling them out. Right? 6, 11, and 7. Right? So it's the same thing just now in terms of our groups being 5. So we said 5 per group. So if we put 1 there, 1 there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 4, 5, 3. And you can put 2 there. So it's like shuffling around it like that. So we have 5 per group. All right? Right. So the level of numbers can increase. So look, we have a set of numbers. See how many numbers we have there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, as the question says. All right? So add up those numbers and see if you get back the total 330. So Alicia's going to help us add 3, 7, 5, 13, 20, 23, 39, 23 again, 40, 23, 14, 12, 56, 23, 29. You got it?
330.
You went overboard? 330, that's correct. So, how many numbers we counted just now? 15? So divide by 15. So divided by 15. And it's 22. Alright? Now, Azaria, you were listening, when I was calling the numbers. So, what is the mode here? So let me repeat the numbers. 3, 7, 5, 13, 20, 23, 39, 23, 40, 23, 14, 12, 56, 23, 29. Which number is the mode?
23.
23. How many times do we have 23?
4.
4 times. So 23 is there 4 times, right? The other numbers are there once or twice. So 23 would be our mode. So you understand the difference? So although mode is also called an average, right? The mode would be the number that occurs more often than the other numbers, right? And sometimes you can have, between a set of numbers, you can have 2 modes. So we call it bimodal. Bi as in bicycle, having 2 wheels. So bimodal means 2 modes. So sometimes you can have 2 modes, sometimes you can have 1 mode, right? And then sometimes they're no mode as well. All right? Cool. Now sometimes you can have negative numbers as well. So I don't want you to feel that all your numbers are always positive numbers when you're calculating the mean. So sometimes you can have negative numbers as well. And so in our next example, we have 3 minus 7, 5, 13, and minus 2. So if we add those, come on, let's add them and see if we're going to get the same value that is presented on screen. You want to try manually or you want to switch out? You want to try the calculator? Okay, she doesn't want to try the calculator. So we're just doing it for speed, right? So 3. Yeah, you can use a calculator. So put the number 3 and minus 7, because it's like if you're adding minus 7. So just minus 7 minus 7 plus 5, 13 plus 13 minus 2. Are we getting 12? Good. How many numbers do we have?
5.
Yeah, we still have 5 numbers. All right? And so when we divide 12 by 5, we're going to have, see if you get 2.4.
Yeah.
2.4. So we can also find a mean, not only of positive numbers, but we can also have a mixture of negative numbers as well. You getting through this area? All right, cool. Any questions so far? Do we have any mode there? Any mode is there? No, all the numbers are there once, right?
Yeah.
So there is no mode. So you'd say there is no mode. You do not put the number 0. Right? So just a bit. Let me open my open board a bit. So in terms of mode, so just now we had 3 minus 7. What else we had? I can't remember what we had though. Anyway, so in terms of that, we say in terms of mode, we say there is no mode. Right? There is no mode. So if we say mode is equal to 0, what does that mean?
0.
Zaria? If we say mode equals 0, what are we saying? We're saying that the number 0
0 occurs
More frequent.
Yes, that's what we're saying. So see why we have to be careful to say mode is equal to 0. So instead of that, so we do not say this, we say there is no mode, which is much better. All right? Cool. So going back to our slide here. All right, so let's write ourselves. So we have an average time for rats to finish a maze. So rat number 1 took 45 seconds. Rat number 2 took 54 seconds. Rat number 3 took 37 seconds. And rat number 4 took 49 seconds. So what would be the average number of seconds, right, that a rat took to finish the maze? Right?
54.
54. So let's check. So what we're expected to do is to add up all, we need to add up the number of seconds that rat number 1 took, right? Same for rat number 2. Same thing for, right? So let's put in the score here. So rat number 1, what is his score? How many seconds he took? 45. Rat number 2? 54. Rat number 3?
37.
37. And rat number 4? 49. So you see what's the total? So the total number of seconds would be 185 seconds. And because we have 4 rats, right? So one rat took an average of 46.25 5 seconds, right? So you can copy that if you need it. Not the entire thing, but the sum equals 45 plus, all right? So the rat there that took the smallest, least amount of seconds would be the rat that finished the maze very quickly. And that's rat number 3 with 37 seconds. It's a brainy rat. Average time for rats to finish a maze, 46.25 seconds. Okay. Alicia, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's look at another case. Average temperature. So day 1, we had 28 degrees. And you know we've been experiencing a lot of rain, right? Day 2, 29 degrees. Day 3, 11 degrees. That's cold. So what's the average temperature for the 3 days? All right. So it's the same thing. 28 plus 29
Yeah.
plus
11.
11. All right. So for so one day on average, we had 22.66 degrees for one day on average. Right? Was that cool? A regular day would be like 30 or something, because body temperature is like 37 degrees, and so anything below that would be cold. So probably like what we were experiencing in this room. Cold, right? Due to the AC. Okay, one more. So an average age of a basketball team, and so player 1 is 30 years old, player 2 is 28 years old, player 3 is 21 years old, and we have a player number 4, he's 26 years old. So let's find out what is the average age for this team here. 30, 28, 21, 26. All right, so on average, each player is 26. So 26 years plus. All right? Or you can say, we can make it into a whole number, 26 years. All right? Or 26 years old and a fraction of a month. All right? Any questions so far? All right, so let's look at some questions, some further questions relating to. So, quickly, see if you can do these questions. What is the mean of the numbers 8, 9, 13, and 18? And you will tell me what your answer is, and we will correspond with what we're saying. You ready? What do you think it is? Ready, Alicia? Or you're not sure as yet? You're not sure? All right, just double check on your numbers, your calculation, and see what you have. Zaria, you ready? So what's the total of the four numbers?
Total is 48.
48, you're right. I'm good. I'm getting 48 as well. Did you get 48, Azaria? You made a mistake adding. All right, that's why I have the calculator there for us to, speed up calculation if necessary. Okay. All right. Come on. So 48 divided by 4? Tables now, right?
12.
We waiting on Azaria. All right, Alicia's going to take this one. She says it's 12. Yes, it's 12. All right. So the next one is going to be for Azaria. All right. So Sam scored. Oh, this is an appropriate question because you probably have end of term assessment. We're coming to the end of the term. And so you'll be getting your report, right? And so when you present it to your parent, right, they're going to recalculate your averages and see if it's correct in terms of what you have for each individual subject, right? So math, 51%, English, 62%, science, 70%, geography, 39%, history, 81%, economics, 57%. Well, you may not be doing some of these subjects currently, but so what is Sam's mean grade? All right, his mean grade. Yes, you can use it. That's why I have it here because remember in our session we only have half of an hour. And so sometimes your calculation is going to take a little while depending on the type of numbers you have. So you can use the calculator for ease and speeding up the process. Okay. Ready? So you're using the calculator, right?
Yes.
Good.
I got 60%.
All right. Zaria, you sure you don't need a calculator? Okay. This is her question, right? So this is her question, so we're waiting on her. Okay. Cool. What? You getting through?
tables are running through.
Oh. 6 into 36. Tables. Yeah, I think she got it now. She got it. So how much percent overall? 60. Same thing you got with a calculator, right?
Yeah.
Right, it's 60. Let's check. Great, it's 60. One more. All right, so a booklet has 12 pages with the following number of words. So imagine you have a page, 12 pages, and these are the number of words on the 12 pages. 271, 354, 296, 301, 333, 326, 285, 298, 327, 316, 287, and 314. So we want to find out what is the average number of words per page. Right, per page. So we're going back to Alicia on this one. Because she has the calculator to give us the speed that we need today. But you can continue to do your addition and division. You have all the numbers? You want to start back? Okay, let me call for you and so that you can check it on the calculator, right? Ready? So clear it. All right, so let's go. 271, 354, 296, 301, 333, 326, 285, 298, 327, 316, 287, and our final number is 314. And we know how many pages we have there, right? So the number of pages, 12 pages. We have 12 pages. So what's the total? I'm dividing it by 12 because we have 12 pages. So what number are we looking at?
Oh, 309.
309. All right, so while we're waiting on Azaria to come in, so let's see if it's 309. Good. Is it true? Yes. So your total number of words would be 3,708. You have that total? No. So you see you made a mistake. All right. That's all right. It's based on our time. And we divide that by 12 pages, and so we got an average 309 words per page. All right? So we stop here for today. Do we have any mode, by the way? We don't have any modal score there. Right? The number of pages, words on the page they differ. All right, so we stop here for today. And so I'm hoping that you understand clearly how you calculate the mode, or how you identify the mode, and secondly, how we calculate the mean or the average based on what is given in a particular question. Any questions? So we have to work on our speed and adding, and what else? Dividing as well, right? So we need to work on that and save on time. All right, so thank you for watching today, and see you in our final session on Thursday. And we're going to have some quizzes based on some of the concepts that we've looked at before. All right, bye.